Hello, hello. You can hear me rolling that mouse wheel. Look. That's just for you. Look, I can even disengage the mouse wheel so it can roll free. Boom. Thanks, Petro, for your beautiful musics. Oh, which one? That one? That one's probably right, isn't it? Let's assume it is. That's good. You can probably see my face now. And to get lighting set up again, because I'm using a Logitech Brio 4K camera, and it's different for the lighting than the 922 that I normally use. I couldn't think how words worked then. Hello, welcome to a Star Citizen streamy thing, and happy 2949 or 2019. You know, Aaron Neo, thank you very much, the host or whatever. I don't care if it's one viewer and it's just you. That's all good. Makes me feel happy and warm inside, just like Christmas does when I'm slightly drunk. But how are people doing? How's it all going? Happy Alpha 2.5 from 2017. Oh my god. Yeah. Yeah, why not? But yeah, how are people doing? So good. What, do you accidentally go live? What do you mean? Did I not? Was the music not playing? Petro was playing, wasn't he? I don't fucking know. What do you think? I'm a scrub lord when it comes to streaming and content creation. However, people seem to like to watch me. If you'd like to ask any questions to me about, you know, my beautiful face, what I do in my day-to-day life, or Star Citizen, as 99% of questions are, I just put question in brackets and we'll chat about that in a minute. Oh no. Oh, I see what I've done. I've made a title mistake of Alpha 2.5 rather than a 3.5. It has been corrected. It has been corrected. I apologise. I'm literally the worst. Oh, I see now. The chat makes a lot more sense. Oh, you see, I'm from the past. BoredGamer's a noob. People like the SMR of the mouse wheel. We're going backwards. Oh god. Oh no. See, now I'm rolling down the chat. 3.4 was a government conspiracy. That is true. you will have issues running Star Citizen on a 1050 Ti without concessions. And concessions you'll have to make are probably going to be resolution based. Oh my god. What a fax piss, what a faux pas. Yeah, the 1060 is sort of like great graphics card, sort of like where the 980 was. So it's a sort of great tier of graphics card. 1070, best value for graphics card in my opinion at the moment. If you're going to get 1070, do it. Good old 2.5. Yeah, okay. Look at people. Everyone thinks they're the first to spot it. No, I appreciate it. Thank you. I'm getting my eyes checked tomorrow, which probably will be helpful for this. Kit basically said to me the other day, when was the last time you got your eyes checked? I can't remember what we were talking about. But I was like, no, my eyesight's fine. I don't need them checked. It's like, you're an idiot. You could have glaucoma, your eyes could fall out, and your skull could be exposed. So I went, okay, I'll get them checked. Jeez. A while back, Disco said the Polaris would go into production after the 600i. Now it seems to be pushed back in favour of the Carrack. What are your thoughts? I think that is what's happening. Sort of. I think there's two teams that have split off from the 600, and that one of those teams is working on the Carrack, potentially reformed team or whatever. It's a team of 5, isn't it, working on the Carrack at the moment, I think. I suspect the Polaris will also get some work very soon. I suspect also, though, that they want to get the Carrack in as soon as possible. Carrack is one of the most wanted ships in the game at the moment. I think like that and the Bounty Merchantman and a couple of others are super high on the priority list. The Polaris is probably reasonably high, but Carrack's obviously a lot older as well. How many years? When do you think we can get an updated roadmap for the verse? Yes, we obviously need an updated roadmap beyond 3.6 because that is not the appropriate really for our needs. So we do have the Squadron 42 roadmap. So I'll link the roadmaps here for people if they want to follow along at home. Let's actually bring these up on the screen. Is that right? Is that good? Is that working? Yeah, it is. It is. That's working. That's fine. So we got the Star Citizen roadmap, and it only goes up to 3.6 at the moment, which is June, end of June 2019. But we do have the Squadron 42 roadmap, and you want to get rid of overview and go straight to features, because overview just says, yep, we're working on Squadron 42. And features actually tells you a lot more. Now, a lot of these features in the Squadron 42 roadmap are features that are going to be directly subsumed into Star Citizen at the same time, or very, very similar times. So like additional, better particle lighting and water physics and things like that, procedural asteroids. Most of this stuff should make it in for the same quarter as the Squadron 42 stuff. Not everything, because some stuff's going to take a bit longer to make it multiplayer ready, and the persistent universe's needs are different from Squadron 42's needs. Squadron 42's needs are more specific and typically simpler. Not always, but typically. And a lot of the cinematic and like very specific things they're doing with the Tier 0 NPCs, that's Squadron 42 rather than the multiplayer stuff. But there's a lot of stuff going in here, basically, that you can then use to work out what's probably going to be in 3.7, 3.8 for next year as well. And we can... Well, what I'll do is I'll probably get a video up either later tonight now then, or tomorrow, and we can look at the rest of the year, I suppose. Expectations for the rest of 2019 beyond 3.5. Because we can elaborate based on what was planned for last year and didn't make it in, and what was priorities from the year before as well, and then sort of like absorb it into the Squadron 42 roadmap. So with this roadmap, some of my favourite things to see are the Vandal capital ships, like the King ship in Quarter 4. We've got the Javelin for Q3 and the Idris M for Q3 2019. And I think we've got a little Bengal. Where's the... Where ain't Bengal gone? Oh, there you are, in Q4. And a lot of these have actually had a lot of tasks done on them already. So that's pretty exciting. We're definitely not going to see the ships at the same time when it comes to like the Idris and the capital ships and stuff. But it's a good indication of when they can start to make them PE ready. And with things like the Idris M and things like maybe the Javelin, they might wait until Squadron 42 is out before putting them in the verse. However, there's a bit of conflict in what they've said. They've said both a mixture of we don't need Squadron 42 ready to release these capital ships. They've said that quite clearly. We can have them as soon as we basically can support 2 capital ships fighting with fighter support on the multiplayer servers. And that could come as soon as 3.5, the actual underlying framework for having better servers is there with the finishing off of object container streaming and parallel network jobs, because parallel network jobs potentially allows them to increase player counts on servers, and they constantly improve servers anyway. So the finishing of object container streaming, client side, and parallel network jobs, great. They might, for larger ships beyond the size of what we have already, they might wait until they have all of the server side stuff for object container streaming done as well, and then potentially start to put stuff in like that. So we'll have to wait and see. That's more theory crafting of what I think they're going to be doing. But they've, with capital ships, with some of these capital ships anyway, they've basically said, yes, we can put them in as soon as the network infrastructure that is there to support them and they're ready. And they've simultaneously said, well, we don't want spoilers for Squadron 42, and the expectation there is they might hold certain things back, like the Idris M, but they might allow the Idris P to go out if it's ready. Do you see what I mean? Like a Bengal. If a Bengal was ready, I suppose no one would have one, but they could have a mission with one. This is the sort of stuff that we might see in-game as well as Rex. But I'd like to see the Javelin in-game. Like, I have a Javelin on my account. I want to play with a Javelin. I'm interested to know what people think about what CIG might do with that. I mean, the other cool thing was the Titan suits. So the Titan suits are something I've wanted for time, and they are bridging the gap between vehicles, ships, and infantry, and they're just a big Iron Man exosuit, yeah, I'm very excited about them. How do you stay so beautifully bald? Genetics. It's not a. I promise you, it's not a bonus of my genetics. It is severe. I don't want to be bald. I mean, I've accepted it now. I give no fucks about it really. But I'm sorry. I came up Alpha 2.5. Fuck you. Okay. Oh my god. Oh my god. 3.0 was hell. That is true. 3.0 had loads of problems. I hope everyone had a good New Year though. You're still drunk, Erenio. Oh dear. So you don't need so much RAM anymore. I mean, 16 gigs is more than enough now. You can get away with 12. I mean, just barely. But Star Citizen can be RAM hungry, but it's not as devastating as it used to be. I think graphics card is super important at the moment, personally. You can get away with some like 2nd gen onwards i7 processors as well. So processor isn't that important as long as you've got something reasonably powerful. RAM, yeah, more RAM is better than less RAM, but at least really 16 gigs is the sweet spot. It used to be 32 with Star Citizen, but yeah, more RAM is better than less RAM with Star Citizen, but pretty much nothing else. Other than rendering, which is why I have 64 gigs of RAM. But my 1080 Ti serves me very well, and people with 2080s and 2080 Ti's have said that Star Citizen works very, very well on them. But you can check out the telemetry page for more information, actually. Telemetry. Okay, say more information. The telemetry information is not the best. There's not enough filters and test cases to show exactly what you're looking at, but it will give you at least some extra information about what people are using to get different frame rates. Oh, thank you very much. I appreciate all the love. Oh. I'm going to go up. To go back up, down, and up, left, right, and I'm going to go up the question list backwards because that's just where my brain is now inclined. Do you think Titan suits will be balanced? When is the next tier after? Where is the next tier? Where is it? Where it is the next tier after heavy armor? So they are slow, but have lots of defense, offense, and they can be taken down by someone in armor. Okay. So let me try and unpack that question. Titan suits almost certainly won't be balanced with their first implementation. The game is going to be iteratively balanced and tweaked. However, they'll be reached, but hopefully they won't be super OP. The idea with Titan suits is they may be a bit sluggish, a bit slow, or not particularly maneuverable on the ground. They might have vents in the back which are sort of like vulnerable to certain things. So they're not going to be entirely OP, but they should be able to lock down areas pretty well, as long as they don't have to run around inside a building. But maybe like in a big warehouse where it's big and open, they might be really useful, things like that. So I'm expecting them to be very useful in large open spaces, and I'm expecting them to be mobile, but not very mobile. So more agile troops and stuff might be able to get around them. Things that do like EMP damage or things that jam things might really affect them because they might actually really need to use a radar. They might not have very good vision. They might have like blinkers, things like that. So there's lots of stuff they can do to make Titan suits require support and other infantry with them, or make them, if someone's just getting behind them, flanking them, or in buildings around them, they might not be super effective. But yeah, we'll have to wait and see, certainly. But I don't think stuff's ever balanced when it first comes out. Not until they go to like more of a beta phase, and then they start balancing with much better intentions and understanding of how everything's going to work together. Does CIG plan on increasing playable system of planets further, or will that remain on the back burner until other parts of the game are finished? Playable system of planets. Don't know what that means. They will constantly be improving the procedural generation of planets and moons and their tech for that. They're working on ArcCorp and Microtech at the moment. They're trying to get the Stanton system roughly finished before they move on to another system. I say roughly finished because they're still going to constantly improve the systems they have and the areas of space around there with gas cloud tech. They'll put the Aaron Halo in Stanton at some point as well, but I suspect they'll actually have another system before they do that. But they'll want to get the full Stanton system built out, so they're not adding any more large gameplay area to it. It's like, this is now the system, and anything beyond that is more procedurally generated or just improvements. What else have we got? Do they mention when team sharing is coming, or just soon? Love your face. Soundwave, very soon. It's basically, so the next major pillar is organisation features and gameplay and stuff. That's something they are focusing on to get it in the game as soon as possible. And team sharing, better party systems, sharing missions, all of that is part of that, and they can get it in piecemeal. So with sharing missions with a party and sharing missions with your group and your team, that's going to be a priority, and we might see some more bits of it in 3.5 and expect more and more every patch. But yeah, I'm hoping that we have something solid for a robust team sharing, like team and group sharing stuff for 3.5 or 3.6. Thanks for making great content. Keep it up. You're the reason I became a pledge. Well, that's good. Hopefully you didn't pledge too much. The only reason I say that is you have a cutlass. That's a good level. You're upgrading it to Andromeda. What are your thoughts? I think keep the cutlass. I would advise people to buy stuff in game with in-game money where possible. And the reason for that is, well, I don't know people's disposable incomes, and obviously everyone's an adult. But here, anyone on my channel that's going to be buying ships, and you can spend your money on what you want. But a lot of people just don't have the right hardware. Like I'd always say, improve your hardware more or whatever. But yeah, if you want to buy ships, buy ships. But really, you don't have to rush to buy them. You can buy some stuff in game now, so it's worth testing it. It's worth renting it in Arena Commander, things like that, before you buy. So I just want people to be really sure before they buy stuff, because like upgrading from a Cutlass to an Andromeda, yeah, that sounds good on paper, because the Andromeda is better. But the Cutlass is smaller and allows you to be deployed from more points, and it is really multi-use, and it might be better in atmosphere than Andromeda is, things like that. So it's all going to be dependent on what you want your ship for. And if you've got the spare capital, fuck it, why not? Go mad, buy yourself what you want. It's just, I don't know, it's, when it comes to digital purchases and being able to buy this stuff in game, might as well get it in game where possible. But as I said, it's going to be different for different people. And what the fuck do I know? I spent £3,000 on ships. So, Narek has resubscribed. Thank you very much for the sub. 15 months is a long bloody time. Shite! Oh, I love your face. Thank you very much for the donation. How long do you think it will be, or to take, to port over ship tech from Squadron 42 to the persistent universe? And when will you admit that you're the real Picard? I'm not the first. I wish I was Picard. I love Picard. The only time I've disliked him is when he got a little bit drunk and was angry at James Corden. So that was his name?
Tricksy little.
He had a real go at someone. I was like, oh god. I think he just misinterpreted him being grumpy. No, I'm really looking forward to the new Star Trek series. I love Picard. I think he's a genuine Shakespearean treasure. I don't know how long it was going to take to port over certain items from Squadron 42 to Star Citizen, but the stuff on the Squadron 42 roadmap is being worked on typically for both things at the same time when it comes to tech. So when you see the sort of like let's go here, Weapon Effects version 2 and atmospheric effects and procedural asteroids, that's all in Squadron 42, but that's all tech that's for Star Citizen as well, and will be subsumed as soon as possible. A lot of it, some of it, can be literally be sidestepped across. Literally, it's ready for Squadron 42. Yeah, it's in the branch. It's ready for the PU now. Bam, done. A lot of it also needs a bit more work to get it in to the persistent universe. Now, this is more typical of ships, some AI stuff as well. But a lot of the stuff, as I said, can just be ported across. It's not ported across. It's the same fucking engine. It's the same branch. It's just, you know, it's not the same branch, but it's the same engine. It's, you know, all in the dev branch, I suppose.
Tricksy little hobbitses.
Well, thank you very much. Yulnor and the Deep Fryer and Citizen Shenanigans. Oh my god! There's how many? Thanks for the subs. My god, thank you. It's a lot of subs all in a row. Thank you for your Prime subs. Thank you for your money subs. They're all the same. They're all the same to me. Very much appreciated. Thank you very much for the support. A lot of people were asking me, is there a way they can that people don't like Patreon at the moment for reasons. I haven't actually had time to look into it too much. So I've kept Patreon at the moment, and I probably will continue to keep Patreon unless it becomes sort of like some genuine reason that I learn and look at and go, oh fuck, this is terrible or something, what they've done. But I will look into it at some point, because some people will be like, honestly, you can't be on Patreon, or you should be on Patreon, or whatever. But I will look into it and I'll make my own decision with it. But other people have said they don't want to support me on Patreon, but they want to support in another medium. The channel memberships through YouTube are a great way of helping if you want to. I am starting to get involved with Patreon and YouTube and member stuff, and actually trying to provide them some exclusive content and polls and things and some behind the scenes stuff. I'm trying to post once every day in there now. That's the idea, to chat. The other way is just direct donations from the Streamlabs BoredGamer UK link. But as I said, if there's another platform like Patreon that goes up soon, I think Lions Tech Tips have been working on something, and I think Jordan Peterson's working on something, so I'll take a look at those platforms and see if they're sensible. But as I said, haven't looked too much into the reasons for Patreon, heard some stuff, but I'll be like, I don't know, I haven't made a decision myself, don't know yet. I like to remain neutral on all this sort of shit, because I don't want my channel ever to be about politics, because it's about Star Citizen, and I even want to be relatively neutral about that. However, so that's hard when I'm a Star Citizen fan, and I love playing the game and the community and messing around, learning my trade, which is editing and making content. What else have we got here? Oh, so to go back to a question from earlier, to actually answer it, and when do I expect updates to the roadmap for the Persistent Universe? I'm expecting it when they get back, so hopefully by the end of January. I think they might be back in the office later this week, some of them. So expect normal operations of the office potentially to start next Monday again. So Monday coming up. And then anytime from that Friday to the end of January, probably towards the end of January, we'd see an update to at least 3.7, hopefully 3.7, 3.8. When is the Mercury Star Runner coming out? So I believe the Star Runner is going to be the first Crusader ship that they work on, and I think they're working on it towards the end of this year. Once that's done, they're going to be going on to the Hercules. We're doing a mixture of chatting and speculating and answering questions. So it depends on the particular situation that you're talking about, Ed. I want to rub your lovely bald head. Well, as a member of Patreon, I'll send you bald head picture. No, what? Why do people want to touch me? What is wrong with you? Subsumed, absorbed, used. Yeah, subsumed is the correct term to use there. Or a term that is at least tangentially useful. How do you think our character from Squadron 42 will transfer into Star Citizen? Like a bunch of hero of verse running around? Oh, I see. So you're saying, with everyone having the same story in Squadron 42, do we think everyone's going to be a hero? I wouldn't expect our characters in Squadron 42 to be a mega hero after Squadron 42. I suspect it's a really interesting, in-depth story, but you don't have to be a hero in that story. You're just a participant. And you can, yeah. And I suspect that you could even, they've sort of said potentially that your character from Star Citizen can go back and play Squadron 42, and it will like fill in their diary in the Persistent Universe, so like retroactively. So I think you can play straight after Squadron 42 with that character and play in Star Citizen. I expect they will be very, very linked account-wise. As a software and web developer, I understand this project is beyond complex. However, do you feel like CIG is burning through resources on irrelevant or unnecessary in-game technologies? Blake, sometimes, yeah. I mean, you look at some of the stuff they're doing. I'm assuming there's been R&D stuff that they've done that they haven't told us about that was dead ends. I think that there's definitely a percentage of inefficiency there. But that is the double-edged sword of the way they're doing the project. They don't have a publisher. And we can see with most of the games recently, at least any games that I've played recently, most of them have been pretty shit or killed off. Like, I love Titanfall and Titanfall 2. I even actually liked Evolve. They sort of killed those franchises off by not supporting them properly and trying to cash grab with certain areas of other games. I'm happy to see where Star Citizen goes, and I'm willing to accept that their inefficiency might lead to a long development cycle. And thank God I accepted that, because we're still in that development cycle, and it's been quite a long time. So yeah, I think there's obviously an issue with some resources being inefficiently used or irrelevant or unnecessary, but there's a lot of stuff that they will come out with that's pretty useful for the game and the project. I don't want any more extreme features added. Like, I don't want, like, we have subspace, and subspace is an entirely different realm we didn't talk about, and there's these new mechanics entirely new that we didn't talk about. Don't want any of that shit. Like, if they do base building or manufacturer stuff, that's cool, that makes sense, and that's sort of like just sort of like attachments or a little bit of iteration beyond what they've already talked about. If they have like more complex base building and stuff like that, all up for that. But yeah, no, hopefully they're not going to have any crazy new features, because we're getting to the point where they're starting to deliver and they're having to actually finish off the work that they've promised now. Seriously though, when are weapon attachments coming? Why are they taking so long? Is this an example of unnecessarily overcomplicating something that should be simple? So I expect it's been... There's probably been problems somewhere down the line with customization of stuff, or they wanted to do something else with it, because we know that we've been able to have objects and turn them and look at them. They might be breaking when they're changing attachments on weapons. Maybe weapons weren't fully set up for what they wanted. Maybe they need full persistence for those attachments to work properly with their databases. There's a lot of stuff that it could be. I was hoping that we would have had attachments well in by now, because I want to see customization of weapons. It may be that they're waiting for physicalized inventories to come out with 3.6, which makes a lot of sense. Can't say for certain though, unfortunately. But physicalized inventories, 3.6, that's what I'm expecting attachments to actually be in and working, even if it's to quite a simple state of just changing scopes and bits like that. Yeah, it's a matter of priorities and a matter of changing priorities, because it does change very regularly, especially with them. They go, what do we want for this part of the game? Or let's get this ready for the persistent universe. Let's get salvage ready. And then priorities will change, or salvage isn't going to be ready. So they just change up the roadmaps and they move stuff around, and they do some of it based on what's sensible and some of it's based on what the community wants. And then they move priorities around as well when they try and work out what they're going to be doing at CitizenCon, or if they're going to have a Gamescom, or if they're going to have a holiday live stream or not. So the last couple of years we haven't had a holiday live stream, and this year we didn't even have a holiday special beyond the giant info dump. I mean, they did have an ATV, and that was sort of like their holiday special. But if they dressed it up as a holiday special and had it a bit longer and explained stuff a bit better from the roadmap, and maybe showed some unseen footage, that could have been a really good holiday special. And actually, people not feel, because I was a bit disappointed there wasn't a holiday special this year, or last year, in fact. How big will capital ships actually be? That's a good question. Let me show you. To stop. So, what's here? What's currently in game? We've got the Reclaimer. So the Reclaimer's sort of like Corvette-sized. We've got that in game at the moment. We've got the Caterpillar, and then we can see a capital ship like the Idris. The Idris is over twice the length of a Caterpillar, but it's massive compared to it. I mean, the Idris is pretty fucking big compared to a Reclaimer, and it's a lot wider, so there's a lot more usable space in there. The Retribution is here. This is a Super Dreadnought, which I think will be mentioned and maybe being built in Squadron 42 Episode 1, but actually in Episode 2. Got the Javelin, which is the biggest ship available in the game to purchase ever. So they're pretty big. They're fucking big. Look, they're big. Hope that helped explain that they're big. Do we know when the final game will allow us to choose different species, play as Vandal, for example? So what they've said is in the future, so probably quite distant future, I think they previously said after sort of like release, you'd be able to play as different species potentially. So expect something like after Star Citizens, probably at least, so think at least 3 years time sort of thing for this sort of feature. You might be able to play as Tavaran, Banu, and that sort of stuff. I'm not sure about Vandal, but I suspect there are friendly Vandal, or more friendly Vandal, than the current ones that are the protagonists in-game. Antagonists, in fact, in-game. Maybe they're protagonists, who knows? Thanks for making great content. That's already read that. Love your face. Mwah. What else have we got? Is it true CCU ship melts and upgrading will be locked at the launch of Squadron 42? So, what they've said is when the game goes into beta, and I suspect that is separate from Squadron 42. Expect CCU ships melting and upgrade melting lock stuff to them give us a big fuck ton of leeway. I will, however, ask CIG when that is the plan currently. Do they have a date in mind? I'll double check to make sure it's not at the beta of Squadron 42. I can't imagine why it would be, but I'll double check. But expect them to give us a huge amount of leeway and tell us about it before they do anything. But basically what I suspect is that when we have full persistence, that'll sort of like be the cutoff for CCU ship melting and upgrading, because they'll probably want proper databases done by then. Where do we draw the line on community input, realistic versus ridiculous? Exaggerating, but do we need our avatars to get colds and the flu? Some input seems meh. No, all input is at least useful in some way, even if it's just to bring attention to stupid ideas. That's fine. It's fine to go, this is too much. Someone saying this, as long as people aren't then attacking the person for saying, oh yeah, I want colds and flu in game. Don't go, oh my god, you're a fucking moron. Then some people don't be like that. You can say, no, that's clearly far too much. I don't agree. I think that's a silly idea. I think that would be going into too much of the survival mechanics, or just being a bit awkward, a bit silly. I don't want my character to die of old age and things like that. When they talk about your character aging, to me, that means battle damage and being literally your character aging from getting damaged and hurt and that sort of stuff, not from literally getting older. But yes, I am very much in favour of ridiculous and realistic ideas, as long as they're discussed properly, because that is super important. And even out of ridiculous ideas, sometimes you get a little diamond nugget. This is the Squadron 42 vertical slice in the background. Do you think we will have more ground vehicles this year? Yes. And do you think roads are coming with ArcCorp? Now, that's a good question. So basically they've said when it comes to roads and large-scale train systems, at the moment they have to place them by hand. A lot of this stuff will be moving over to procedural tech at some point. If they want to do large-scale public transport, roads, we'll have to see exactly how they want them implemented in-game, because if we have roads, then we have people travelling on roads, and then that means people crashing into each other on roads, or NPCs on roads, or whatever, maybe, potentially. So it'll be interesting to see what they do on like planets like ArcCorp, because we've got Area 18, and then the whole planet's a city, so we might have a few other areas to explore there, like major landing zones. The whole planet, as far as I'm aware, is not going to be explorable. Some of the interiors are going to be explorable to an extent, but it's reasons to be there and gameplay to be there. It's not you running around exploring a city for no reason. They want shops, and they want mission givers, they want stuff to be meaningful. So don't expect this procedurally generated, oh my god, this is amazing, this whole city internally is procedurally generated. They can do that, but there's no reason for them to do that. That would be ridiculous. In my opinion anyway. But some interior done, and the whole exterior of the city done, that's sort of like what they're going for. But I do expect to see more ground vehicles. I do expect to see lots more concept ground vehicles, including like military APCs, civilian vehicles, things like that. A vehicle to do most of the roles that ships can do on the ground, like salvage and repair, I'd expect. How do build-dozer CPUs do in this game? Check out the telemetry page. That'll give you some information. What else have we got? How complete do you think Lorville is? I thought it would have way more shops and places to visit. Will it be like ships where we'll see major reworks in the future? I suspect... Okay, so... The general procedural city tech, I suspect, will get reworked, or improved rather than reworked. Some of these areas, I suspect, will get more and more built out, but I'm not expecting major reworks of internals to cities. Some areas, some little bits of them, yeah, they're probably semi-modular. Like the hab areas, they can actually probably add to that pretty easily. I don't see any reasons for them to do any major reworks. They might have to tweak and move bits in stations if they extend tracks and that sort of stuff. But I think they've built Lorville, and they're going to be building these other cities that they make in mind with future expansion plans. They don't want to keep on constantly reworking these. That would be madness. That would add years onto the project. And I'm sure some people are prepared to wait those years. However, if they're unnecessary, it's just wasteful. But as far as I'm aware, when it comes to a lot of these places now that they're building, they are semi-permanent. Yeah, they might rework parts of them, they might rework and move bits around, but a lot of the stuff is just reusable and modular. Any suggestions on a good price on RAM? RAM's come down a little bit recently, and you can pick up like 1070s and stuff pretty cheap now. As a content creator, what are your thoughts on the Patreon debacle? Haven't looked too much into it at the moment. I am very pro free speech. However, I am it gets quite complex for me because when I look at my so I don't delete comments from my YouTube. There is a system which automatically picks up certain words and stuff, and they'll get deleted, so certain words are just banned. But everyone plays by the same set of rules is something very important to me, because I have OCD, and because I have anxiety, and I need to know a rule set, and I play within that rule set. So I've heard some bits about it, so I need to look into it. And yeah. I am clearly naive on certain situations, because I do believe that, in general, people aren't dickheads, but there clearly are some dickheads around. So, will you stay? Oh no, I can't read, and it's jumped away. 1 second. 1 second. Will you stay stable during 2019? We care about you and need your info.
FX8300, RX 484 GB, and budget SSD run Star Citizen.
I mean,
you look good, Ball. Don't worry about it.
Oh, thank you, Comrade Bear. Appreciate it. How much RAM have you got? So 4 gigs on the graphics card. I don't know how to place FX 8300, but a budget SSD will be fine. That's fine. The RX 480s, I think they're okay. Are they on par with 970s, 980s? The RX 480s, 970s, I think. You might not have the best experience in the world, but it's not going to be awful. It's going to be playable. I don't know where the FX 8300s lie for the AMDs. But you can check out the telemetry page. What else have we got? Why is Star Citizen Racing so underrated? I think a lot of the people have just got bored of the tracks, because it's the same tracks again and again, and they're waiting for the new flight model that's coming in 3.5. I am not the real Picard. No. Naughty. How soon after Squadron 42 releases will the PU be released fully afterwards? Well, so in the at least a medium term, so in the next couple of years at least, the Persistent Universe is going to have updates every 3 months. Big major updates of to some degree. I'm expecting to have something more similar to a beta at the end of 2020 for Star Citizen, the Persistent Universe. But it's going to be a while after that before everything's balanced and the gameplay area is fully introduced. So maybe at the end of 2021, but more likely like midway 2022. As when I'm expecting something released for Star Citizen now, looking at stuff. I'd like to see the new Persistent Universe roadmap before I give my full opinions on that, though. But then they're still going to be working on Star Citizen and still be adding more and more and more. So, but when the game has full persistence, like proper full persistence and no more restarts, the game is sort of released. So it's full persistence, server mashing, no more restarts. Bam. I've upgraded my Mustang to an Aegis fighter, but my fleet still displays the Mustang Alpha and not my expected upgrade. Thoughts? Have you actually upgraded it? Have you bought the upgrade and not upgraded it from your hangar? You need to upgrade it from your hangar. So what I mean by that, what account am I on? I'm sure on a account that has something. So what I mean by that is when you go into your account, so account pledges, which is there, my hangar, then you look for the upgrades you want to upgrade from. And oh my god, what have I got on my account? I've got everything. Subscriber, no. Upgrades. Go to upgrades and then apply upgrade. And make sure you've applied the upgrade. Bam. That should work. Make sure you've applied the upgrade. That's basically what I'm saying. And if it's still not working, contact customer service. Don't think we should buy a good... Don't you think we should buy a good money-making ship with cash, if we can, rather than trying to grind up millions of credits starting with a starter ship? So Ted, it depends on what kind of player you are. For some players, yeah, you're gonna wanna buy a better starting ship because that's the way you want to play. However, if you're in an organisation, you're gonna have access to loads of ships anyway. In most organisations or some organisations, and there's lots of other reasons to play. You can be working with other players to make more credits straight away. You can crew someone else's ship. There's going to be lots of work for that. So it literally depends on how you want to play. I don't think a lot of people are going to need anything more than a starter ship, because they're going to be manpower for people, they're going to be in an organisation, and working together with people in an organisation, crewing capital ships and stuff, is going to make you a fuck ton of money if it's done well anyway. And people are going to want good crewmen, and that's going to make you a lot of money. I mean, even just working together well, even if you're just in a starter ship, people need manpower, they need people on the ground. Do you think they'll stick to holding on to larger cap ships, Idris and Javelin, until Squadron 42 releases, or will they fold for pressure from backers and release them when they're ready? I talked about this earlier. It's a little bit of column A and a little column B. I think some capital ships can be released before Squadron 42 goes out. Others will be held back. Like, I think the Idris M will be held back. I think the military variants of the ships will be held back. You might see an Idris P, you might see a Javelin in the persistent universe before that, though. Politics sucks, Star Citizen rules. That is right, Huntress. Basically my chief mod. She is a legend. Love you, Huntress. We were talking about you the other day and saying how much we adore you. But we never really talked to you. Sorry, Huntress, we're like the worst. BoredGamer people are the worst, but we love you. Any idea when CIG gets back into baking the patches? I suspect they will be starting to come back this week, so expect patchwork properly from next week onwards. Do you think the Saber Raven will receive retroactive lifetime insurance like the Gladius and Gold did? Well, the Gladius and Gold, although promotional, is referral based and is different from the Saber Raven. I hope that the Raven will retroactively get lifetime insurance, though. It doesn't matter if it doesn't, though. You just make sure you have it insured in-game. You mentioned in a previous video that we may be able to buy ships with skins and colours. Do you think we'll be able to alter ships already bought? That's a good question. I don't really know. I know that the new system that they want to do means that you can pre-customise your ships with colours and potentially loadouts, potentially interiors, and it's going to start with 3.5 with the 300 series rework, and that's going to be from the RSI website. And I think that's also going to be its default loadout when you claim it back on insurance. But I don't know if you're going to retroactively be able to do that to ships. I suspect you would be able to, but you might not need to. There might just be a system fully in-game pretty soon for you to be able to do that as well. Mate, do not worry if you missed any of... I just chat whatever. We chat, answer questions, we chat about Star Citizen, so don't worry if you're ever late to these, and you can always watch them later. No one needs to be here. I do appreciate all the love, though, and I do get a lot of messages of people being quite nice. Thank you, I do appreciate it. I don't think I deserve it more than I produce content for Star Citizen, and I appreciate all the company, community love. But, thank you. Do you think the 3.5 will go to Ivacati earlier than usual because of the flight model changes? We need some tweaking. Yeah, potentially. So because of a lot of 3.4 stuff getting pushed into 3.5 that was actually almost ready or already part of just a different branch or whatever, but had a lot of work on it. Yeah, I think that 3.5 could go into Ivacati a couple of weeks earlier, potentially, than normal. And yeah, they do need to get the sort of flight model tweaked and working. It could cause lots of problems on the servers. It could cause lots of performance issues. Hopefully, because it's simpler and it's been implemented and designed by the same team. It should be a lot better, and a lot better performance-wise, a lot more simple. So hopefully it's not going to be devastating to the game. I think I'm right in saying that in the future they said you can't wear armor while piloting, which is a good thing. Therefore, should all ships have a small inventory storage for equipment? Yeah, so I'm not sure if it's all armor preventing you to sit in a seat. Like, you might have to wear light armor or medium armor up to, and still sit in a seat. And that's an interesting one, though, because obviously some ships are going to have lockers, some ships aren't. No, I think it's good that not all ships will have lockers. And some ships you're like, yeah, it's a small one-person ship. No room for me to have heavy armor in here. Is Bethesda in a good spot? Well, the whole of the AAA gaming industry isn't in a good spot at the moment. There's like basically been recessions, there's a lot going on with the economy, and there's a lot of different disenfranchised gamers. There's a lot of companies changing to just be pushing what makes money. What makes money doesn't necessarily make a good game. And like mobile games and loot boxes and microtransactions, they make a lot of money, and that's what the current formula is. So a lot of AAA games are suffering because of that, because they're businesses that are literally trying to make money. So Bethesda and EA and places like that, they're not in a good spot. Blizzard, they're not in a good spot at the moment, in my opinion. They need some original IPs. They need to, as AAA publishers, they should be leading the way when it comes to new styles and plays of game. Not let's change everything to Battle Royale, because Battle Royales were making a load of money. Look at Fortnite. Like, and stuff like that. It's just, no. Make either your severe own take on it, or really push for something else. And keep on doing that, because you're AAA, you should be doing that. The reason you've got there is because you made some good games in the past, and your fans love you, and they will support you, continue to support you while you're making good games. But obviously they're also companies, and they get pushed by shareholders and all that sort of stuff to make more money. And even when they have a good game, like something like Titanfall, Titanfall 2, they sometimes kill those IPs off because they're not making enough money. When we get 3.7 and 3.8 on the roadmap, potentially at the end of next week is when we could start to see them again, although I'll probably do a video on stuff we can expect for the rest of the year as well. I quite enjoyed Fallout 76 as a guilty pleasure. A lot of people hated it. That's fine for them to hate it. Me and Sin were playing it together, and Kit and Zen and people. We were running around, messing around, and having a good lot of fun, ignoring everything else that was controversial about it. It was certainly not a great game. It was like a buggier version of Fallout 4 for me, and but it was fun to play with my mates. Can't deny that. However, Atlas was unplayable for me, so... Could you elaborate on how the aging mechanic works? Nope, because we don't know yet. They've talked about aging previously, but there is a soft death system in Star Citizen, which will mean that you can die. Basically, you'll have some like light, soft deaths. So you bleed out, or you get shot in the head, or whatever. You'll die and you'll respawn in the hospital or a medical ship or whatever. But if you continue to die, you eventually... I think I might... No, it's okay. I thought I shattered a tooth somehow. You continue to die, you might just perma-die. And then you'll have to make a new character. Now, you'll be able to transfer your possessions and that sort of stuff to your new character, but you might lose some stuff in death tax, you might lose some reputation or something. But the idea is that your mortality is important in the game, and you shouldn't just be zerging repeatedly. There might be ways of getting your lives back in some way. There might be ways of saving you from actual, like, one of your soft deaths by ejecting in time, things like that, or getting to medical facilities on time, or paying more for your medical insurance or whatever. But so when it comes to aging, you might see your character get a bionic arm because he lost an arm. You might start to see battle scars on your character and things like that. So you'll look like you've gone through the wars more because you've been killed more. Long live the 2016 holiday livestream, indeed. I'm sorry that I'm a good at least 10 minutes behind. 20 minutes behind. Oh my fucking... Right. I will post the winner of the giveaway up on the Reddit later today. I contacted him a couple of days earlier than normal because the Saber Raven codes were going out of fashion. I've also got a poll up on the YouTube about what ship to give away next. So there's a choice of a Banner Merchantman, a Carrack, a Taurus with game package and Citizen Con little goodie pack, a Banner Defender with the same game package and little goodies pack, and there was another ship. Sorry, just clicking at people there. Carrack Merchantman Reclaimer was the other one, although the Carrack seems to be winning mahusively, which is good because the Carrack was only $400. Cool. In addition to the content we're already doing, what would you like to see more of? More gameplay videos are running, and actually it's closely followed by scripted Star Citizen story and videos. Maybe we could do something silly with that in the future. Okay. But yes, I'm going to be on the Twitter, on the Patreon, on the YouTube community posting of things, and on the Discord I'm going to be more active. I'm going to be more active playing the game with anyone that wants to play at the time that I'm on. I'm going to be more active interviewing and grabbing people for organisation and game mechanics interviews. And I'm going to be more active in just engaging with the community and chatting to people and working out what to do for content and just talking. Because Star Citizen is this beautiful community project, and that's why my channel has grown, and that is what I enjoy the most about it, I think. I love playing it, I love messing around with it, I love playing with my friends, I love playing with the community, I love playing with my community, but the actual community as a whole, and the project that's generated with that is just mind-boggling and crazy and awesome and super fun. What else have we got? A question. Do you think Star Citizen will have a good fun to realism ratio? Will people enjoy the hardcore realism Star Citizen, or will people have a small dedicated community, do you think? I don't think Star Citizen will be as super dedicated realism as you think. I think it will have a more fun than realist ratio. I think a lot of stuff will be numbers, stats, and physicalized and sort of like simulation driven, but I don't think it's going to be hardcore realism. I think it's going to be some realism, and I think it's going to be reasonably complex, but I think a lot of the stuff's actually going to be simple to learn and complex to master. If you are a cargo hauler going through some less secure space, what percentage change of chance, you said change, but chance of being attacked by pirates do you think's right? Too much or too little, the tension will be ruined. I think it'll be based on the subsumption and mission system. I think a lot of stuff will be going on. You can actually watch Tony Zorovic talk about this, because they're going to have simulated NPCs and pirates, and basically when you're in a certain area, there'll be a percentage based on all the other things that are going on there of you being interdicted or being attacked by pirates. So yeah, it's going to be a percentage based on exactly what is happening in the area around you and exactly which way you're going and that sort of stuff. And then you have to intersect with them as well. Is the game really optimized enough for AMD on Ryzen already? I don't really know. I use Intel stuff. I've looked at the telemetry. There's some good results with AMD and Ryzen stuff. So the game is going to get more and more optimized, especially when Vulkan and some more of the multi-threading stuff comes out. So that's not too far off. The Idris P and the new kit seem to have turned into an actual debacle for CIG. What are your thoughts on the P going to an M, the P now having lighter armor, and the kits not having lifetime insurance? So you're talking about the K kits. So the K kits are additional equipment for the Idris P to enable it to, basically it's a big beam weapon, which would go in the same slot that the railgun would go on the Idris M, and it has turret upgrades. And I think that's literally what it is. I don't think it's a debacle at all. I would like to see the kit have lifetime insurance, because it was the first time they were selling it. I'm surprised that it doesn't. But the P, even if it's the Idris K, so that's with the kit upgrade from the Idris P, it's still not going to be as powerful as the Idris M. The Idris M is the military version. That railgun is going to wreck large ships. However, the beam weapon might be useful against the slightly more mobile ships and corvettes and things, because it's going to be able to have sustained constant fire. But beam weapons are cool. Railguns are cooler. Last Chris Roberts interview, quote, "If all goes well, Squadron 42 is going to come out and make big numbers. Star Citizen will become this online world where people want to dive." What do you think? Yeah, I think that Chris wants to make Star Citizen's Persistent Universe a little bit like Second Life and wants people to play all of their time in there and wants to have a simulated world where people are running around doing missions but also living on planets and things. I think that's always what he's wanted. I think Squadron 42 should make some pretty big numbers. I mean, even if it makes moderate numbers, they're not driven by a publisher. They're still making a fuck ton of money. And then hopefully Star Citizen, although a bit more mainstream. So yeah, Vulkan API is going to make the game a lot better. Bored me! Happy New Year, how's life? Good, thank you very much, QTE Boss Battle, love your face. Thank you, Boss Battle, as well, for being one of the biggest supporters I've had throughout the year. You, Huntress, who else do we have? Mantis. There's quite a few people. Aventador, Warbots, lots of people have all supported me and the channel massively, and I fucking love you, so thank you. I do a proper thank you because there's quite a few people. What else have we got? It's perfectly acceptable to love playing Fallout 76. It doesn't change the impact that it had on Bethesda and the gaming industry. To everyone wins? Everyone wins? I don't know what you're saying there, Huntress, but I love you. How about that? It's just like it's fine for people to love The Last Jedi. Heal the fandom, everyone. Well, no, what it is like, okay, people are allowed to enjoy what they enjoy, yeah, as long as it's not really hurting anyone else. And no one should gatekeep your fun. That is, when people tell you that your choices are shit, and you're like, but I'm having fun. I enjoy whatever. I enjoy Fallout 76. Fuck you. If you're telling me that I need to be angry about it, fuck off. How dare you tell me what I need to be angry about? I'll be angry about this! How does 1 million Alpha, well, UEC for $100 sound? I honestly would be fine with the sale of UEC because it would secure financials. It seems to work in EVE. Do you think there will be pay-to-win complaints? Yes, there will definitely be pay-to-win complaints. They are going to be selling UEC for money. That's one of the ways they've always said they're going to fund the game. However, as soon as they actually have a release game and they start promoting that, there's going to be loads of media picking up on it and going, and now they're selling the in-game currency. That was always the plan. They already do it. But mark my words on that. Someone can clip that if they want. Maybe we'll use that in the future. Just to go, people don't research. But yeah, I think it's a good idea. As long as it doesn't become pay to win. It's as simple as that. I mean, and okay, there are levels of pay to win. I mean, my definition of pay to win, which comes from my definition of pay to win is getting something that gives you a significant advantage in game, and typically cannot be obtained anywhere else. If buying UBC gives you a huge advantage, or it allows you to purchase things that are literally unpurchasable without spending real money on it, then it's pay to win. Games can still be pay to win and good. However, that's not what I want for Star Citizen. I'd be fine with them selling concept ships after the game's released as well. Fuck it. Do it like Warframe does it, and have it like, yeah, new Warframe Primes or whatever. Boom. You can have them early if you pledge. Give us some money. Do they ever talk about healing your spaceman mechanics from years back, like dragging of other players? Don't remember hearing anything about it since. Yeah, they've talked about it in the Squadron 42 roadmap. dragging of players and some of the medical gameplay is mentioned in there. Hey Bored, just logged on, how am I doing? I'm doing alright. Had some problems with the family. Got some health issues. So I've been sorting that out. But it's hopefully should all be fine. I'm having my eyes checked tomorrow. Had a good Christmas. Didn't get drunk on New Year's. I got a little merry, but I was the most sober person there, as far as I was aware. And everyone else was entirely shit-faced where I was, which was weird. I haven't got any more Saber Raven codes for giveaways. They've now out of date. It was the end of 2018. What do you think happened to farming profession? Long range scanning, info running, hacking? Well, long range scanning is being worked on now, and you'll see more on that pretty soon. Hacking, I think, is also, and the info running sort of things are all being worked on as well, so we'll see them in the very near future. Farming profession, expect it to be quite far out. They might have some stuff to do with land claims reasonably soon, because they were wanting to get them in last year, some of the land claim gameplay, like actually claiming the land and protecting it and maybe having missions on there and things. So farming could come a bit sooner than I think, but I think science profession stuff, like farming, like stuff with the Endeavour, like the biodomes, like changing topsoil and planets, I think that's all quite a way out. Hey dude, I met you in the bar citizen in a Hobbit in Southampton 4 to 5 years ago. Been subscribed since, great to see you still at it, and your channel having great growth since then. Here's to 2019. Here's to me being really drunk in the Hobbit when you first met me. Good job. Thanks, Inferno. We'll be doing some more Star Citizen, bar citizens in Southampton or somewhere in Hampshire soon. You said in the past, child NPCs would not be great in-game because of the game age rating. Yes, I think they're avoiding children. They're avoiding children NPCs and children in-game. But should they care about their rating? Not sure I want a PG-13 game. I want a bit of gore. You can have a bit of gore. You can have gameplay and action, and you can have some adult concepts. It's just children, because then you start murdering children in game, that gets banned in certain countries. They want it to be available in every country. I suspect they want it available in China, which might mean they might need to change some aspects of the game for China. Specifically for like a Chinese version. Because you can't have... So I think like though Diablo 3 had to change some of its missions because one of them contained fraud. And there's certain weird things that the Chinese government will not allow in games, and they literally laser comb look through your game. Do you think those who had the 300 series would be able to do package missions after the rework? Since I can fit around 8 to 6 packages in the back. Yeah, I think it's built so that you're more easily able to take packages up like the ramp. I think it's going to be more of a ramp than stairs, or if it's stairs then you can carry a box up the stairs. I vaguely remember them saying that. I'm still on a freelancer miss my daily driver. Which cargo ship can you recommend me to haul? Is the C2 a viable alternative to cover that? I mean, the C2 is a big hauler. That Hercules is going to allow you to take ground vehicles as well to ground, so it's going to be very useful in atmosphere as well as in space. The C2 is probably a great hauler. It's an interesting. We need to see how they're going to be balanced between sort of like different ships to use in different scenarios. So yeah, the Hull E might be the best money maker, but it can only dock with stations, it can't land on planets. The Battle Merchantman might be able to run blockades better, so each of these ships are going to be a bit different in the way they play and what they're useful for and what they're going to be able to make money from, even within that cargo hauling profession. So did I imagine it, or will there be large ships where we can sell items? Ship bazaars. Yes, so for example, the mechanics we know is going to be with the Banu Merchantman is there are going to be internal shops there that can then sell items. And we're not entirely sure how that's going to work, but maybe the NPCs, maybe it's player shops, maybe it's just little kiosks. But yeah, you will be able to buy ships, items directly from terminals or some way in a banning metronym. Do you think that a Anvil scimitar or a similar ship will be reconsidered to fill a medium role combat ship for Anvil? Maybe. I suspect we will see some more heavy and medium fighters at some point. Obviously, this game's going to be massive.
Oh, beautiful.
Oh my god, what is this? Thank you very much, Kitra, for the bits. Thank you a bunch, mate. Well, thank you for your bits, mate. Appreciate it. Obviously, this game's going to be massive. Do you think there'll be a film franchise similar to Resident Evil, and also some ships in game like Space 1999 Eagle, as I'd love one. Okay, so obviously Chris loves films, and I think the game Squadron 42 is probably as filmy as Squadron 42 and Star Citizen will get, beyond machinima. I expect there will be a lot of machinima. So hopefully they just keep it to that. Hope they just make more games, cool cinematic games, and hopefully, yeah, hopefully it'll be massive. I think it will be. Happy New Year, BoredGamer. When is the next likely period for buying currently unpurchasable ships or concept ships? Do you think the Vulture will be available again if salvaging makes it in 3.5? So yeah, yeah, expect some ship sales around the end of March for flyable like sale, and probably some sort of like Eastery type sale as well. We might have another ship sale, or at least a concept sale, from mid-February onwards. Can you imagine how big the download will be when the PE is finished? Probably about 80 gig. That's what I'm expecting. A lot of stuff can be reused assets and things like that. Do you think large-scale ground combat will be like? What do I think it will be like? Do you think it will be planetary invasions like Starship Troopers, or smaller-scale battles in specific areas? I think the way it will play out is probably smaller-scale, quick battles in areas. I think there's the potential to be huge ground-scale battles, like planetary invasions like in Starship Troopers, maybe not that size, but more Planet Side 2 style, pretty fucking large battles. But I'm expecting most of those ground-based battles to play out in quick, sort of like surgical strikes, because it's going to take time for people to mobilise, and if you know where someone is, bam, you've got them. So we'll have to wait and see. But question: I'm not very adept at understanding much. So why is AI that thing that seems to be the centre of hanging up progress, or at least dependent on the game evolving? So AI in Star Citizen and Subsumption is touching a load of different systems, including the economy, mission generation. They need the new flight model for actual combat AI. There's lots of different levels of combat AI. They need the AI to be a mixture of challenging, but also accessible for players to not instantly die to them. So there's a lot going on with AI, and they want a good level of AI to work in multiplayer. Much easier for AI to work in single player, but in multiplayer, when they're actually being generated for procedural missions, it's a whole other kettle of fish. So it's taking a long time because it's probably the most time-consuming and important thing in the game now. Gameplay loops, actual roles and mechanics, and AI, super important. Star Citizen goes on for 20 years plus after launch. Realistic? Yeah, I mean, I think it will. I don't know how many players it's going to have after 15 years. But maybe they'll continue to upgrade it. Maybe they'll continue to patch it, and if they constantly see large-scale success, I mean, it's going to be like, wow, they're going to keep on releasing expansion packs, they're going to keep on improving it. So, hopefully, because they're not like super shareholdy, because they're not like, they don't have to give all their money to a publisher, hopefully they'll plow a lot of the money back into the game and not care so much about making the giant profits of like selling just microtransactions and mobiles, and they continue to make the game better and better and better. So Port, you need to be angry about gatekeepers. Don't tell me what... Oh my god. My brain can't even work out that sentence. I've not been able to play 3.4.1 due to a persistent issue with no markers in game, missions, locations, systems. The markers are all missing. Any news on the fix of this? There's a quick fix, isn't there? Is relogging? Does relogging work? There was a quick fix to that. Like turning a mobile glass on and off or something, or untracking and then retracking a mission worked for me when I first did it. I'm sorry that you are having that constantly. What do you think will be the next gameplay loop after scavenging and refueling? Scavenging, refueling, fuel in general. Probably some of the medical gameplay. So responding at hospitals, being able to stabilise people, drag people, and medic them. And then we're going to have some more exploration gameplay. I mean, there's a lot of gameplay loops they need to get. It's working out what's going to be next after scavenging, refueling, rearming. The drones will probably be pretty quick after that. So, yeah, medical, repair, drone gameplay. That's what I'm expecting. Sort of, not sure what order of that, but... Do you think we'll be able to fit a 300 post-rework and an X1 inside an 890 jump? Oh, maybe. Yeah, I think maybe. I don't know if the aperture's going to be big enough, but it's got the floor space for it, isn't it? I don't know what they'd have to do to make the game China ready. But I mean, games with economies do sell in China, so. And China's not entirely communist, is it? I didn't think it was. What is the economic system in China? System in China. Yeah, they are socialist in, but.
I'm dodging bullets like fucking.
Well, this isn't something you need to be here for. I'll look at that later. What else have we got? Are you surprised how little attention CIG's potential victory over Crytek got in the media? I wonder why, lol. Well, I mean, okay, typically, law cases like that aren't covered very much in the media, unless it's two giant companies. Neither of those companies, CIG or Crytek, are particularly huge in the same way that something Bethesda or EA did would get covered, or Oculus. Do you see what I mean? And it was sort of like, it was quite vague exactly what was going on with it as well. It was sort of like, Crytek are suing Star Citizen. For what exactly? Breach of contract. It doesn't make much sense, sort of thing. So I suspect it was avoided because of that. However, if it had gone the other way, if Crytek had got any movement into CIG or Star Citizen, it would have been covered in the media, I'm almost sure, like a lot. But yeah, certain things in the media at the moment, especially loving to hate certain things, fake anger, manufactured sort of like witch hunting and things like that, they're just, and an odd look at alternative facts is something that just seems to be rife on YouTube and all of these alternative sources for media. And I say not alternative sources of media, all sources of media. So it's just something that you have to be aware of. And when you're looking at sources for information, don't be afraid to look at multiple sources, even if they're directly contrary to that source. Look at it all, look at what proof is provided, and then make your own decision. .5's on schedule, yeah. It's on schedule. It should be end of March 2019. I suspect some bits might get pushed past to 3.6 because there's so much in 3.5. But I did a video the other day. Please check that out on my channel. All the content CIG has shown in the Squadron 42 roadmap is going to be in Star Citizen patches, or Star Citizen is only restrained to his own roadmap. Yeah, so the stuff in Squadron 42's roadmap, most of it will be used in Star Citizen's persistent universe. Some of it will be directly sidestepped over at the same time. Some of it will need a little bit more work to get into Star Citizen, into the persistent universe. Some of it will be a lot more work. So are you flying a Connie in your last gameplay video? Have you been experiencing the bug where the ground effect, when very close to pads, is too extreme? Throws the ship around? Unflyable? No, I haven't. And I was flying the Constellation for a good few hours, messing around with it. I had a gravity problem with it where I hit the ground pretty hard. But that was me being a derp, I thought. Do we know if your ships in Squadron 42 will transfer over to the persistent universe? So no, your ships in Squadron 42, I believe, unless they will stay in Squadron 42. They're military. You're using those ships as part of your military contract or whatever, your job. However, you will unlock stuff in Squadron 42 for use in the persistent universe or for purchase in the persistent universe. So things like the F8 Lightning, at least I believe the civilian version, once you get to a certain stage of Squadron 42, that will be unlocked for you to purchase in the persistent universe. Would you happen to know when the first jump point is going to be added? No, I wouldn't. I'm expecting to see it at CitizenCon this year, though. How cool do you think they'll make the Pisces? I think the Pisces will be a cool scout snub ship. Probably with the ability to take a little bit of cargo on board, probably 2 people on board, things like that, but still a sub. A little runabout shuttle for going planet side and looking at cool things. What upgrades would I recommend for your Titan? I haven't looked much into the meta in 3.4.1 weapon-wise. I'd need to look into it properly. But military grade components of the highest letter you can get. It's the highest letter. Closest to A as you can get. I think there's some reasonably good C and B grade military components. You can actually see now the performance with a lot of stuff as well when you're buying it. So have a look around. With the introduction of ships like the Cutlass Blue, are they expecting to introduce bounty hunting live captures? So I'm expecting that bounty hunting will get added in pretty soon, and they're pushing towards bounty hunting. They've got some bounty hunting missions in which are more sort of like kill this target, kill this target. But all they need for bounty hunting live captures is the ability to have less than lethal weapons. So gun, maybe certain armors ignore a large percentage of less than lethal weapons and tasers or whatever, but yeah, less than lethal weapons, and as soon as a person gets taken down by a less than lethal weapon, they basically become cargo. They're just a body on the floor, they count as dead, but they're cargo. Done. That is live captures. That is a really quick and easy way of doing the bounty system. That's my expectation for the first iteration of it. There used to be markers on the planet. When you approach the planet, you could see different distance and everything. You get 0 info when you get there. Press B when you get there and see if then you can see everything. That'll spool up your quantum drive and see with the quantum locations, but that's how I see where everything is. I would like the ability to turn on and off everything on my HUD at a touch of a button, but obviously we don't have that at the moment. That's the sort of thing that we will have very soon though, because they go, oh, right, this is really easy to do, and it exposes more information to the player from the HUD, and they are working on HUD improvements. It's one of the things they're doing for the first quarter. So hopefully by the end of March, it's one of the things that you'll see in the moment on the Squadron 42 roadmap. Let me bring this up. It's on Cortec, is it? Is it under gameplay? So vehicle HUD version 2, vehicle radar version 2, vehicle scanning version 2. It's all for Squadron 42, but that sort of stuff can make it straight into Star Citizen. So expect to see better HUDs and more information exposed and better displayed items for planets and that sort of stuff. Can you recommend a good tutorial on how to use chase cameras? Sidero does something amazing camera angles, but I can't see the same shots. I don't know anyone that does really great how to use, like, cinematically the cameras. I've done a video, I think Maya's done a good video as well. I'll see if any of the good people like Kaskahar and can't remember their fucking names, and some other people have done stuff like that, or if they haven't, I'll see if they're willing to do it. What are these concept sales I hear about? Also, I see people with ships that others don't have. Is this part of the subscriber option, or do you have to go off ships? So you can, okay, so you can buy a starter package of Star Citizen, and then you can also buy a load of ships during different times of the year. They have like ship sales and concept ship sales and stuff. And concept ships, when they're in game, then you'll be able to use them. You can buy ships in game with Alpha UEC, the in-game currency as well now. At New Deal, at Teachers on Levski as well. So at Lorville, Levski, and yeah, you can rent them in Arena Commander. And the reason people have different ships because they've bought different ships. Will bounty hunting play ever allow you for rescuing a friend from the bounty hunter or prison? We don't entirely know. They'd probably like to do something like that if it was viable. So we'll have to wait and see. Any idea when celestial bodies will move in their orbits? So obviously we rotate at the moment. We just don't revolve around planets and moons and stuff. And the sun. So I know they've been working on that. I don't know when that's going to be in though. As soon as they put that in, it changes the way that quantum travel works with spline jumps, because then they need to dynamically calculate the spline jump, or at least it needs to be able to change as you're travelling to an object. And then everything's always going to be in different places when you travel there. That's madness. But that's what they want to do. You can when you're in scan mode with a tab, you can look at targets and it'll give you more information about that. So you can look at nav point and it'll give you information. You can look at ship and it'll give you more information. Do you think we will ever have to dress up appropriately for certain areas or mission givers? Constantine will only deal with you if you're well dressed. I don't know. There might be areas where you're not allowed to wear armour or undersuits, so you might have to wear clothing. And so your clothing would have to have a rating or a rep, which would be interesting. But I think they'll probably cut it to you can only certain areas you might have to wear clothing rather than undersuits. What is the reputation and law system? So they're basically, for 3.5, they're introducing a new system for reputational law. We're not entirely sure exactly what's going into it, but it says that it's the initial iteration of reputational law, allowing for localized crime ratings and reputations, along with integrated location-based missions. So expect more reasons to be an outlaw, more reasons to be a pirate, more reasons to engage in PvP, and more reasons to be lawful, and it give you different routes throughout the game. So being currently wanted by the cops might give you access to more missions. There might be missions which are direct counters of other missions and that have lawful players playing against outlaws. And there are some counter missions in the game at the moment. But yeah, it's the idea that you can be witnessed doing a crime, and then you'll be chased by NPCs, or certain people have the rights to kill you, whatever. But if you're not witness doing the crime, you won't get a crime rating. This also might see armistice zones go. If the system works in PTU, I would expect them to go, right, we're getting rid of armistice zones, we're having turrets, we're having security guards, and they will deal with people appropriately. Also means you'll probably, like, if you die as an outlaw, you're spawning room hacks, or things like that. You guess I don't like any of your questions. Have you put question in brackets at the beginning of them? Because that's probably where you're going wrong if you haven't. So I literally flick through with my mouse wheel. Pow! I am going to dash off in a second. I might try and get a video done later tonight. Either looking at the future or stuff beyond 3.5. So we'll look at 3.6, 3.7, 3.8. And what they could contain, because we've got the Squadron 42 roadmap, we've got last year's plans and the years before plans. Pew pew pew! That sound, laser sound. Of course I can. As soon as we've got full persistence, that you're wasting time in Star Citizen will mean something in a good way. And that's probably when I'll be streaming a lot. Well, so when it comes to people ramming people or killing people in the safer zones, they just need really, really strict sort of like ways of dealing with it. So just have you as like a criminal for like a long time, for at least 24 hours, maybe long, like a week, and you can't go near that area without getting shot by the turrets. Like, and maybe when you're reclaiming a ship, if it's because you rammed another ship on a landing pad or whatever, then maybe it takes ages to reclaim. There's lots of stuff they can do to prevent that sort of stuff. Has there been any information regarding what is considered a witnessed crime? So at the moment, it's if you're seen by a relay, by the comms relay stuff. But I think it's going to be if you're seen by bounty hunters as well and things like that. Or detected doing a crime and then scanned while you're doing a crime, or someone's seen you do a crime and then they scan you. Enjoy 2019, mate. Thank you very much, Sodwhite. Appreciate it. I will take that money and swim in it like Scrooge McDuck. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Diablick, 1983, thank you very much as well. QT Boss Battle, I didn't even see that have more money, thank you. And more money, bitch. Oh, wow. Thank you for the sub as well. Oh, my God. I'm the worst at paying attention to anything that's going on. Do you plan on doing guides and ship reviews? What is your plan for the future? So I've previously done them, but I want to redo them as soon as we have the new flight model in. So 3.5, new flight model. I will look through all the ships again. Thank you very much, Mel12345, for the hosty poos. Appreciate it. Star Citizen Gaming, yes I can. And you either message me separately or go into my Discord and message me. If anyone wants to play, please join up with my Discord. I will be playing occasionally throughout the days. I'm planning to play tomorrow, for example, from the morning to early afternoon to get some more footage. But yeah. Does shooting everyone at jump down count as a crime? It depends. Do they deserve it? It's interesting, the jump down. It's an interesting emergent gameplay loop because it's quite fun and it's quite a cool idea. People get very angry about you killing them sometimes, but it's just because it's such a popular route and because there's so much money to be made, it means that there's traffic there and people want to play with each other. People want to kill. People want to escort. People want to patrol. I love it. If you had an Endeavour, I do, and it was in-game, what would I use it for? Farming. Farming and making drugs, probably. Look for the more manufacturing, making money from growing and making things routes. But I have an Endeavour Master Cert. I think it's important, important gameplay-wise to have that sort of stuff on my channel. You hope the new crime system will encourage Mexican standoffs. Yeah, I can see that, Boss Battle. I see what you mean. How long will we have to wait until the AI works? Well, I think the idea is that, if you've seen the stuff in the Squadron 42 roadmap, there's a lot going into Q1. So some of that might make it into 3.5. But when it comes to flight AI, they needed a new flight model, and they've been working on the flight model for an additional 3 months, and the AI to drive it as well. So in 3.5, March 2019, hopefully we will have a usable, flyable, fightable AI that are not shit. Yes, the same will go on sale again this year, almost certainly. Probably at least a couple of times. Yeah, a load of people want to be drug lords, mate. Do they have a VR plan in the future? So Star Citizen has been made with VR in mind in some way, apparently. They did want to have VR in the game. I suspect we'll see VR in Squadron 42 and maybe eventually in Star Citizen's PU. But I think it will be a while out. It's possible that they'll go at the end of the beta for Squadron 42, so like mid to late 2020, they'll go, yeah, fuck it, we're putting VR in. That's a possibility. But don't hype yourself for that. I hope ship rendering is coming soon. Yes, me too. However, they seem to be reluctant to put it in. They've got ship sales in-game now, which is better than nothing. They did have ship rental in that we could see was working from the Expo. So the Expo literally allowed you to rent ships from the ship floor. So we know that works. So hopefully it will be in 3.5. We've been waiting for fucking ages though, haven't we? Eh? What is the best, most useful ship under $200? So for me, it's one of two ships. It's either the Avenger Titan, which allows you to do a little bit of everything in game. It's got a cargo hold. It's going to be a solid ship that's better than just a standard starter ship. Or the Cutlass Black. If you want something a bit bigger, you've got another person you want to fly around with at least, then the Cutlass Black allows you to do, again, a bit of everything. Board, when you were over at CIG, did you see any progression on the pet stretch goal? No, none at all. I've not seen anything on pets or talked to anyone about pets. I suspect that's going to be one of the last things they do, I would expect, because we haven't even seen aliens or... Well, actually, we've seen the Vandal walking around, sort of very early Vandal. We haven't seen any animals in game beyond the Oni crabs, the little rats that were flying around Hurston. Do you think the coming flight model affects aquarium fish mechanics? Will we be able to buy fighting fish? Oh my god. I don't know if we'll be able to buy fighting fish, but fucking probably at some point. It's Star Citizen. I don't think it's going to affect aquarium mechanics. However, the water physics in spaceships might. Because they actually are building physics for the water inside ships. Because when you have the hot tub, for example, in the Phoenix and the gravity goes off, something has to happen. Yeah, there's probably reasons they're not putting ship rentals in game, but hopefully they'll have it in 3.5. Good morning, good evening for the others. You want a space slug or a potted plant? But you'll probably have to have that. I think it'll be good. Are we able to play as an alien? So in the far future, after Star Citizen's race, so a good few years, they did say they wanted the ability to have us to play Banu and Tavara and Xi'an potentially. So probably in the future, not in the short to medium term though. What do you think of the app that turns your phone into an MFD? So that is SCPADD, I think. I want to talk to the gentleman that makes this app. Bam. That is the app, and it's very fucking cool. So it's basically this tablet here.
I've got an update here on SC.
So I put this up here. So it's basically this tablet here. and it just has button controls at your fingertips that do cool things, and it's obviously got some cool graphics to it, but it's turns your tablet into a really useful control console for Star Citizen, which then makes everything much more self-explanatory. It's a shame that Star Citizen is not sold with a tablet with this software on it immediately. But you can just go, oh, spool, and I'll change my cameras, and I'll do some scanning, and I'll switch between combats, and so I can do my M50s for doing my power, and all that sort of stuff. It's a very cool little thing. I will probably do a video in the future, or interview the guy that actually made it, and we can talk about it and talk about the future of it as well. This is some of the sort of like mods and things that I like seeing for Star Citizen, these useful little apps and all that sort of jazz. I wonder if we will have fishing. We probably will have fishing. Every MMO has fishing, doesn't it? Any rumours on what the golden ticket reward will be? I don't know. I don't even know if it will have one. Maybe it will. When you're going to announce the giveaway winners, I sort of already did, and then they posted it on Reddit, but I will drop it on my Reddit later today. It's one of my things to do list. Dynamic weather for the win, indeed. What do you think of, as we literally talked about, did you say that dynamic weather is coming? Yes, so dynamic weather is coming. They actually have someone working on it. I didn't think a whole team's working on it. I think it's literally just one dude working on it. So expect to see some simple dynamic weather in the not too distant future. Also, I think that there's probably something going on with CIG and my radar, because my radar updated their app for all the new stuff. So like they've updated where the positioning of the thingamajigs are, outposts are, and stuff like that, and information there. So I'm expecting that my radar might keep on doing more and more things. And if that's the case, then we might actually see weather simulated on my radar, which is actually that in-game currently. Oh, that'd be so cool if it's real-time, real simulated weather data. But I think that's probably what they might be going for. Maybe. I don't know. No confirmations yet. So what package do I start with? I prefer doing some PvE, like delivery missions. What ship is for me? Okay, so I would just get the Mustang Alpha to start with. You might want to consider getting a Mustang, an Avenger Titan, which would be $20 more. But try with the Alpha first. Now, their delivery missions do require you to take a box. The Mustang Alpha at the moment can't actually take a box, not properly. You can try and glitch one in there. But there are some delivery missions now, like the Wallace Klim mission, like the crashed satellite mission, which mean that the delivery item literally can fit on your character without being taken around as a box. But the Avenger Titan will allow you to take boxes, so it's up to you. But I would try and experience the game with the cheapest ship as possible first, and mess around a bit. If you're doing missions like that, you will be able to buy other ships in-game with in-game currency as well. I haven't seen another drugs lab on Aberdeen, Huntress, but I haven't been on Aberdeen much at all. I do like Aberdeen, but it's a bit too thick fog for me. Once you get through the fog, actually no, it's like Scotland, with or without the fog. So, not a question, but that would add more seats per se to ship. Someone managing your ship with tablet IRL. Sorry, brain hurt my head. What else have we got? Anything else? Any other questions? Have you noticed any difference in scanners yet? My fighters can't see much of anything on a Terrapin and got scanners. So you press tab, go into scanning mode, you should be able to highlight over the ship and it will tell you if it's got more cargo or whatever the owner of the ship is. And you can, when you're in combat scanning again, you can just do a normal mode. You can press I and O and you can go through the different engines of a ship or whatever. and so I highlight that. You will be able to eventually highlight different systems entirely. Your opinion on the new release 600i touring module? It's okay. I prefer the exploration one personally. I mean, but that's because I wouldn't see any use in the 600i without it. But I do have an 890 chump, so who am I to talk about that? Useless ships. It's going to make you feel like you've got a big E-peen. If we get wildlife, we will at some point. Could you think there will be a trophy hunting ability, mount heads on the wall, display in your hangar? Yeah, I think there'll be big game hunting. I'm not sure exactly what form it will take, but I like the idea of it. I do think it will be there. Right. Happy New Year. Thank you very much. Do you ever think Star Citizen will ever be released and function like you would expect from a normal game? Or will there always be alpha and beta versions? I think there will always be like a test server. Eventually they'll have a rolling test server, I would expect. Eventually there'll be something that is like a released game. Yeah, but when they have full persistence and server meshing. And maybe a little tiny bit after that, it'll be basically what a released game is like. But they will always constantly be updating the game. But they will need a test universe to then try out any of those new updates before they put it onto the live servers. Oh my god, Craig's Manster Sator. Craig Massator. Thank you very much for. Oh no, he's just followed. No, he's subscribed as well. Thank you. Thank you for the sub. I can't words. You know I'm the worst with names. Oh, that hurt my head. Call me Draken. Draken. Trikian. Chickenian. Okay. No worries. Yeah, so they got $46 million investment from a couple of private investors, well, basically one private investor as a pair, and that money's apparently earmarked for advertising for Squadron 42 Episode 1. I suspect a little bit for Star Citizen. They can spend it on pretty much any business expense if they need to, and I suspect that in a few years those investors will want dividends paid when money's taken out of the company for whatever reason. So I suspect Chris and Erin and people will pay themselves in dividends when the company makes a lot of money after Squadron 42 and Star Citizen sort of like more released, and yeah, they'll get a reasonable amount of money out of that probably every year. So they'll share the profits. That's my expectation. That would have happened whether or not there was private investors, because that's how they pay money out. That's what I expected anyway. Once upon a time, pets were talked about. We talked about that. Pets will be a thing, probably in Star Citizen. That's the plan. I'm not sure what form they're going to take, whether it's going to be aesthetic items that literally sit on your armor, whether or not you have to have terrariums and stuff for them. But, well, at the very least, we know we're going to have, like, fish, and probably will have to have little cages and terrariums and stuff on ships. That will fulfill the pledge. But I suspect we're also about to have, like, parrots and weird things on us. I don't think we'll have companions that run around and fight with us, but maybe I'll be wrong. How do I think the jump point mechanics will work? Just in case of barreling through, avoiding interconnecting bits of wormhole, or more to it than skill-based maneuvering. I think mapped wormholes will be different from unmapped wormholes, or unmapped jump points, but I'm not entirely sure. I mean, it might just be as simple as mapped ones you can just travel through. Bam, done. Don't even need to move around. Unmapped ones, there might be a proper mini-game or moving through them. Some of them might not be able to be mapped at all, and you might have to constantly be a bit more dangerous about going through them. Don't 100% know, to be honest. So there's definitely going to be player outposts, and you could do large-scale outposts, so you could have player-ish towns. We don't know beyond outposts and some other like smaller structures that we'll be able to build. So there might be some more stuff other than that to allow for player towns, but I suspect there will definitely be player planet and moonside bases which will be very livable in. You can't upgrade to a Connie to a Phoenix currently. I don't think you'll ever be able to upgrade one. I don't think there's a CCU for to upgrade to a Phoenix anymore. You'd have to melt your Connie and then buy a Phoenix when the Phoenixes are on sale. will they allow mods? They've said they wanted mods in-game, and they wanted private servers. We don't know to what extent they're going to allow mods and private servers, but I'm definitely expecting mobiGlass mods and some other fetch data mods. I'd like to see full-on total conversion mods and private servers for those, so I want to see Battlestar Galactica and things like that, and Star Trek and Star Wars and all that sort of jazz, because obviously the engine and procedural tech for it is very powerful. You can have a Battle Royale game over an entire planet, all over, very easily. So hopefully we should get that, but not too far in the future. It's definitely going to be a way out, though. Hopefully it's soon after release. I'm pretty fucking shattered, so I'm going to go in a second. How much secret stuff will be in the game to discover and find? I mean, exploration is going to be a major gameplay mechanic. There's probably stuff that's going to be procedurally generated and appear. That's going to be stuff to scavenge. That's going to be stuff to scan down. That's going to be anomalies. That's going to be wildlife and plants and things like that. So there's going to be a good amount to constantly discover, some of which can be procedurally generated. You mentioned you're getting a 4K monitor and 4K content. Which monitor are you thinking of? I've got the monitor now. It's literally mounted above me. But I do not know what it is called. It's an Asus something or other 4K monitor. It's 27-inch. I'm think I'm ready for 4K. I might even try and do a video this week in 4K. See how it goes. Will there be friendly aliens? Yeah. Tavaran are friendly. Because they've been, entirely crushed under the heels of the UEE. Banu are friendly, unless they're trying to enslave you. Could fans actually model the entire Enterprise and not get sued by CBS? That's an interesting one, isn't it? I don't know how stuff like that works. I'm not sure what you're allowed to use and not use. Yeah, we need to see what's going on with the way they do private servers and mods, and they need to give some more statements on mods. There's the Citizen Reactor, which is sort of like the unofficial de facto modding community at the moment, which are using sort of like more hacky-based tools to get access to console commands and trying to mod for the game at the moment. But CIG don't seem to have given a statement about exactly whether this is something they hate and want them to stop, or something they want to encourage, or they whatever. So hopefully they'll make a statement soon about whatever. Can I have an Android companion? Doubtful. They are very against androids and that sort of stuff in Star Citizen. They don't want robo AI in the game. Like the Borg, probably not even. Yeah, I'll get a light set up. I will get a light set up, so this will massively benefit the way this looks. And I might buy one straight away after this. Right. Any other questions, Crick, before I go? And we'll go and Twitch. I'm going to host someone else. But yeah, thank you very much for joining me today. I'll check any questions in a second quick before I go. But I do love you guys. I appreciate all the support. I appreciate all the patronage and the donationage, and the people signing up on the channel member stuff, and I'm going to be a lot more interactive with that starting today. No, we cannot expect beta to release this year. To clarify my human brain hurty comment, I think the tablet MFD app would add an advantage to single seat ships, because you could have someone else manage jumps and shields IRL. I mean, yeah, you could. I see what you mean. You could even do it remotely, I suppose, with that sort of stuff as well. Can we dress NPC hirelings as we want? We don't know how NPC hirelings will work yet, so maybe. Don't know. Catch co-op? What? What? Let's go and see who else is streaming. We've got Detox. Detox, I love his face, so we'll go and host him. But yeah, thank you very much, guys. Thanks for the love. Thank you for the support. I hope you have an amazing 2949 or 2019. And yeah, take care, and I will see you soon. I'll try and get some more videos out, potentially later this evening. If an Iron Man suit becomes available in game, will we be Stark citizens? I hate you, stainless steel rat. I hate you. Love. Right. Boom.